Deep within the polar regions, a monster stirs. A colossal iceberg, miles wide and hundreds of feet thick, is breaking free from its icy moorings. This is no ordinary iceberg. Scientists have dubbed it the Doomsday Iceberg, and for good reason. Its potential for destruction is immense. If this frozen behemoth were to melt entirely, it could raise global sea levels by several feet, redrawing coastlines and swallowing entire cities beneath the waves. The Doomsday Iceberg is a stark reminder of the power of nature and the very real threat of climate change. It is a symbol of the urgent need for action to address this global crisis. We can no longer afford to ignore the warning signs. The time to act is now, before it is too late. The fate of our planet hangs in the balance. The choices we make today will determine the future of our world. We must choose wisely. We must choose to act. The Doomsday Iceberg, with its potential to unleash catastrophic sea level rise, is a stark reminder of the vulnerability of our coastal cities. Using advanced computer modeling and data from satellites, scientists are working tirelessly to map the potential impact of this melting ice. Their findings are alarming. A recent study published in the journal Nature Climate Change predicts that by 2100, global sea levels could rise by as much as 6 feet. This would have devastating consequences for coastal communities around the world. Major cities, including New York, Miami and Shanghai, are at risk of being inundated. These projections are a wake-up call. We must act now to mitigate the effects of climate change and protect our coastal cities from the rising tide. When cities drown, the American case. The United States, with its extensive coastlines, is particularly vulnerable to the impacts of sea level rise. Major cities like New York, Miami and Los Angeles are all at risk. The potential damage is staggering. New York City, home to over 8 million people, faces a particularly grave threat. Much of the city is built on low-lying land, making it highly susceptible to flooding. A sea level rise of just 3 feet would inundate large parts of Manhattan, Brooklyn and Queens. Miami, a vibrant metropolis known for its beaches and Art Deco architecture, is also in jeopardy. The city is built on porous limestone, which allows seawater to seep inland. This makes Miami particularly vulnerable to sea level rise and storm surges. Los Angeles, the second largest city in the United States, is also at risk. The city's iconic beaches, boardwalks and coastal infrastructure are all threatened by rising seas. A sea level rise of 6 feet would submerge much of the city's coastline. The consequences of unchecked sea level rise extend far beyond the immediate impact on coastal cities. By 2100, we could be facing a world reshaped. Entire nations could vanish beneath the waves. Millions, if not billions, of people could be displaced from their homes. The economic costs would be astronomical. Coastal erosion, flooding and storm surges would cause trillions of dollars in damage to infrastructure, property and businesses. The global economy would be thrown into turmoil. The social and humanitarian implications are equally dire. Mass displacement of people would lead to social unrest, conflict and a refugee crisis of unprecedented scale. The very fabric of our society would be tested.